Sai Ram, with my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. I'm going to present to you today in this beautiful Mandir Sri Sai Sadanam in Princeton, New Jersey. And this is the first long distance webinar service entitled Grants and Proposals. And the key goals of this first webinar is peer review in the United States, which is one of the best in the world. And also I'm going to cover the peer review process in India. And India is one of the top ranking countries in the field of basic science. And there are two. One is the Department of Science and Technology, which plays a pivotal role in promoting science and technology, and also Department of Biotechnology, which covers biotechnology and biological sciences. As in anywhere in the world, majority of the funding for research in India comes through the government through these two departments. One is DST, other one is DBT. And also there are other agencies which I will go over in my PowerPoint slide presentation. So what I'm going to do today is that the attempt is here to give you an overview of the way the government research funds are channeled in India and also USA, and give you a comparison between these two countries. Hopefully, this will help you approach the appropriate agency for grants and funds for your research projects. With this brief introduction, I just want to go over the first slide, and I want to thank Swami through the bottom of my heart for his inspiration to do so much service work, both myself and my wife. And as Swami says, service is the best way to find true satisfaction and happiness in life. And the desire should come from the heart, and with an outpouring of love, and that's the important part of that. Sai Ram, this is a picture of my wife. In one of the interviews, Swami materialized a diamond bracelet for her, and she was the previously Mid-Atlantic region, which is the largest region in the United States, size organization. She was a service coordinator for 5 years. And in one of the interviews, Swami told her, you and I worked together, and she has been doing so much service, not only in this country, but also in Puttaparthi. Swami blessed her for the nursing project, for sponsoring nursing school girls, and also orphanage girls from Bangalore, and also starting the College of Nursing in Whitefield. So just wanted to share with you that she has had a heart attack a few years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, and Swami really saved her life. And just wanted, when she came home, and this Vibhuti appeared in Swami's picture. This picture was there, and this Vibhuti is really stuck, it doesn't fall. So I just wanted to share with you. This picture was there in our bedroom, and Swami showed his presence and blessing her for all the work that she has done, selfless service work. The long distance webinar service, the idea from Dr. Vidyanand, he just got in touch with me, and I really jumped into it. And Vidyanand in Boston, he's an alumni, very dedicated, and really we worked together, and we put together, and we have a procedure now. Vidyanand will be the coordinator from here, and Pradeep from Biosciences Department in Puttaparthi, and for coordinating all different webinars that we are planning to organize. So, and we have put together a database of alumni and scientists in this country. And as far as of today, we have at least 4 or 5 topics being selected. And one is Dr. Suresh Sharma at Penn State. He will be doing on biohazards and lab safety. And Karthik Srinivasan will be doing one on business management, leadership, and human values. And two devotees from Houston will be doing on statistical methods in research, and another one in bioethics, also from a devotee. So with this, I just want to go over a very important service project that we just started, and that is Journal of Visual Experiments. We just got it subscription for this with Swami's blessings, and it will cover almost every department, including bioscience, chemistry, and physics, and also medicine. So just wanted to let you know the subscription will be go into effect tomorrow, that is 18th. So, and this will help all the students and also staff how to conduct research in different areas. Now, one Swami's teaching is love all, serve all, and that we all know. So again, grants and proposals is the area. Then I work at NICHD, part of NIH, and I'll just go through a series of slides, just showing you how NIH looks like. This is an overview of NIH. It's a beautiful campus, almost 300 acres, and many labs conducting intramural research program, as well as some administrative buildings. Now, NIH has got 27 centers, as you can see here, 27 centers, and so many institutes. And this is Center for Scientific Review. That's where I work, and that's where all the grants go through. Research grants go through. And again, expertise, this is my expertise here. I have almost 40 years of experience. First in Center for Scientific Review, 30 years. Then a company I worked 5 years where I did mostly peer review in cancer biology. Centers for Disease Control where I did some special reviews for them. A National Drug Abuse and also Arthritis Institute. Now, institute review is different from review in Center for Scientific Review, and they have their own specific mechanisms. And then currently I'm at National Institute of Child Health and Human Development. I also did some work for a private foundation, Susan G. Komen Foundation, which conducts review mainly in breast cancer research area. So, and I've been very fortunate to work with so many Nobel laureates. In this list, Dr. Michael Brown, his area is LDL, low density lipoprotein, which has relevance to cholesterol. Martin Chalfie at Columbia, he got his Nobel in 2008, chemistry, for his discovery of green fluorescent protein. And Liz Blackburn for telomere, part of the DNA, which has relevance to aging and cancer. Jim Rothman in membrane biology, Gunter Blobel, and Bob Hawley in genetic code transfer RNA. And Phil Sharp, he's the one famous from MIT. Here, got his Nobel Prize in Physiology 1993 for his work RNA splicing and also small RNA. So, and plus so many other investigators that I have. And this next slide is Dr. Harold Warmer's, former director of NIH, very famous person. And also he was the president of the Sloan Kettering Cancer Institute in New York, and now he has moved back to New York. And this is NIH Director's Award that I got for my outstanding work in managing study section and also organizing cutting-edge symposia at NIH. And I'll just show you a few more pictures here. This is Marty Chalfie. He was the chairman of my study section. He's the one from Columbia University. He got his Nobel Prize in Chemistry 2008 for his discovery of glyphosate protein. And next one is James Rothman, also a member of my studies, a very bright person, chairman of cell biology department and molecular biology at Yale University. He got his Nobel Prize in 2013 for membrane protein trafficking area. Now I will quickly go through overall peer review process. I'm going to compare how the peer review is done at NIH primarily, and then compare with how the peer review is done in India. I'll quickly go through a few slides here. NIH peer review is done primarily at two levels, scientific review group, and then second level at institute. Now, this slide shows how the grant application goes through. For example, the PI submits the grant. Okay, here is the slide. Then this goes through, this is where I work, Center for Scientific Review. All the grants go through here. Then it goes to a committee called study section. It's IRG means Integrated Review Group. And then after the review, scientific merit, it goes to the institute. And they evaluate for relevance. And institute has advisory councils. And they recommend whether to fund or not to fund the grant to the director. And if it has a really good merit, fund gets allocated to conduct research. Now the Center for Scientific Review, as I told you, is the central point for review, science applications for the review groups, and science institute, as I mentioned, and also conducts initial scientific merit review for most research applications submitted to NIH. About 240 committees are there, called study sections, where the grants are reviewed. Now, CSR peer review process in 2014, again, just give you briefly, 80,000 applications, 16,000 reviewers, so many people managing the committees, 237, and so many review meetings. And again, don't want to go through in detail, but again, there are so many review groups based on the scientific areas. And then each one divided into different integrated review groups. See, this is just to give an idea all the review groups at CSR. Now, this is just to give an example of 8 study section or committee. And within that, this committee has got this many review groups. I'm going to quickly go through this because there's so much information here which you can read from my PowerPoint slides. Now, Center for Referral Office, I was a referral officer for 15 years, where I have had duties to go through all the grants and then assign it to different integrated review groups and also study sections. There are about 240 study sections, and again, including research grant, fellowships. This is another type of grants and small business. Now this is the building where I work. I'll just quickly go through this. The same building where I work. Center for Science is a beautiful building. My office was on 5th floor. And this is the group. So many people work. All the support staff and also scientific review officers. And application receipt and assignment. I'll just quickly go through here. Integrated review group. And you can write a cover letter and request where you want your grant assigned. That's a very nice feature, Now peer review in CSR. Now CSR study sections are managed by, as I told you, they are called now scientific review officer. Previously we were called scientific review administrator. Now they changed it to scientific review officer. They are at doctoral level. They have the scientific knowledge and close to the focus of the committee, so that they understand the science when it is discussed. So each Center for Study Section has 12 to 25 members who are from scientific community. Now temporary members called ad hoc members are recruited as needed, okay? And about anywhere from 60 to more than 100 applications are assigned. The role of a scientific review officer, just want to quickly go through. He does all the administrative work, selects reviewers, manages meeting, prepares the document, the final document after review called summary statement. Now, scientific review officer, again, this is the same level. I just want to go through doctoral level, legal responder, study section, management review, and again, summary statement, and the final report that he has to write. Now, how reviewers are, this is important. They have to have the expertise in order for them to serve on a committee. They have the doctoral degree or equivalent, mature judgment. If they have to have a way to work with the group effectively. They have the breadth and perspective, impartiality, and also we always take care of the representation of women members and minorities on the committee, and also geographic distribution. Usually, they cover we cover the entire area of the United States. Now, where do we find reviewers? This is just a website, successful applicants, and sometimes the reviewers recommend who are the best people to serve, and this is the place where you can find internet, and also always we attend scientific conferences where we'll see who are the best people. This is how we do recruit reviewers. Now, before the study section meeting, each applicant 3 reviewers, and preliminary reviewer has each application by providing a preliminary overall impact score. And for each criteria, they have to give a score. So I will come to it in a few minutes about the scoring procedure. Now this is again, as I told you, 3 reviewers in this slide. And the next slide. Review, okay, this is extremely important. In order to have a fair review, we always look whether there is any potential conflict of interest, whether institutional, family members, collaborator, and personal bias, and even an appearance of conflict. So we always check that before we assign the application. So confidentiality is extremely important we always stress confidentiality during the meeting. So everything that happens in the meeting is strictly held confidential, and they are not supposed to discuss anything once the meeting is over. And role of the study section chair, he is the one who is in charge of the meeting. He is introduce the application. After reviewers present the review, he will just summarize the review and moderate after the discussion, after panel discussion. So the chairman is very important. He manages the discussion at the meeting and timeliness and thorough. So we always select the best chairperson, the administrator there. Now study section meeting, at the meeting, order of review. Usually preliminary score first, then clustering review, usually new investigator, clinical application, and we also have, we usually discuss application with very low priority. We just cluster them together and they are not discussed. They're not discussed because the science is so poor, they are not discussed. Only the top rated grants are discussed at a meeting. At the meeting, application discussion, again, as I told you, if a person has a conflict, he leaves the room. reviewer 1 introduce, reviewer 2 is summarize, and all eligible invited to join discussion, and a final overall impact score is given for that application. This is the study section. This is one of my old study section. I'm showing a picture of myself sitting here, and these are all the members sitting here, and I'm taking notes. It's extremely important to capture the important points during the discussion. That's what we include in the first resume and summary of discussion when we write. So that is extremely important. So, and this is a few of my members. This is the person I just told you who got Nobel Prize in 2008 in chemistry. And this is myself. This is another professor at San Diego. He works at NIH. All just a group picture. Now comes the most important, preparing an application. Now, you prepare to apply, you register with the grants.gov, you find a cord funding opportunity, follow the guides, instructions, and then submit, track, and view. So this is the electronic process. They have the same process at peer review. Now comes the important tips about how to write a grant. Now, writing a successful grant application, whether it is in India or in USA, the more or less same, although there are some differences. I'll explain that in a minute. Most important thing is you have to read the instructions and refer to the literature. Don't overstate the significance. State the rationale, include well-designed tables, and present organized, lucid write-up. And don't be ambitious, be focused, and obtain pre-review from your colleagues. That's extremely important. Now I already went through this criteria: significance, innovation, approach, and these are the things. More or less same thing for DBT peer review in India. I'll come that in a minute, okay? Again, I just told you, same thing to, some of it I'll repeat. Significance, impact, exciting ideas. This is what they look for, clarity. Ideas, that's important, that they can understand. And realistic aims and timelines. Should not be ambitious, brevity with things that everybody knows, and noted limitations of the study, a clean, well-written application. If you want to look more guides, you go to this website. Now comes the successful application. Novel, innovation, interesting experiments, creativity, feasibility. It should advance the knowledge of the science, whatever you're proposing should advance the knowledge of the study. Hypothesis driven is extremely important. It should be well-defined, significant, and well-designed experiments. Important to include some preliminary data which support your hypothesis, and studies should be well-focused. Expertise is important and well-documented, and also reasonable budget for the proposed work, and necessary experienced personnel and institutional support, and realistic scope. So these are very key things for successful grant application. Now, common problems. I'll just go with common problems with the application. Now, if the proposal has no original ideas, that's one of the problems. Other thing is, if there is no rationale for the proposed experiments, and lack of experience in the methodology, and questionable reasoning and experimental approach. In other words, uncritical approach, diffuse or unfocused application. Many times there is lack of detail, experimental detail, and lack of knowledge of published relevant work. And unrealistic, this is one of the biggest problems with young investigators. They propose considerable amount of work, and uncertainty concerning future directions. So that's a big problem. NIH guide, this is very useful. This is a website. A window to your application, ERI Commons. This is very important. ERI Commons is an online and where the applicant check for errors and things like that and track the review and update his profile and submit the pre-award info and so on. And also you can view the notice of award and other key documents. The ERI Commons is very, very useful. Now, NIH encourages applicants research in terms of easily understood by reviewers, scientists, and Congress and the public. Now, titles should be very convey the message, value of the research in plain language, be understandable for both scientists and the public, and clearly relay the potential impact of the research on health. This is the website, very useful website for all of you. NIH Reporter, Project Reporter, NIH.gov. And examples of more website is here. So I will just go through topics of funding in USA and grants process and compare them. How funding in USA compares. There are some significant differences, but at the same time there are some similarities. So now in India, in USA, understanding process can help, and for USA, this is the website, www.csrnih.gov. Now, NIH is the largest agency funding a wide spectrum in the area of biomedical research, from basic science to clinical science, almost $31 billion for all the universities and private institutions in the United States, and sometimes also to foreign. National Science Foundation, another large agency which funds mostly in the area of basic science and engineering. Science, engineering, technology, math, and so on. Basic science is about $8 billion. Now, funding in USA, Department of Education, I told you, Veterans Affairs. There are other agencies too, besides NIH and NSF, and Education, Veterans Affairs, Centers for Disease Control, where I worked 2 summers, and then as I already told you about this, and Agency of Health Service, and National NIH again, the large one. Now, funding in India. In India also same, majority of the funding comes through the Government of India and Department of Biotechnology, Life Science Research, any area, Department of Science and Technology, major research support, and then this is UGC, University Grant Commission, major research support for universities, and CSIR and few other places. Just will quickly go through. ICAMR, mostly biomedical research, is a website. ICAR, plant science, animal science, horticulture-based research, and this Ministry of Earth Sciences funds research in marine biology, oceanography, and also geophysics. So also funding in India, also same, majority of the funding from Government of India. Now, foreign collaboration, I just want to mention, DST has between French. Indo-US also has this website. Please remember this. UK, India, this, and Stanford, India. So there are some foreign collaboration between India and other governments. Should know about this. And again, foreign collaborations, DST for international, and also Wellcome Trust is a very good one. They have different areas, beginning investigators, intermediate, and senior fellowships. So this, you should know about this. Now, private, besides government funding, you can also get funding from a number of private sources, funding sources. As this chart shows, Alzheimer's, American Cancer Society, autism, and Dana Foundation, and muscular dystrophy, and multiple sclerosis, and one of the biggest is Bill and Melinda Gates. I think they have some funding for India too. I'm not sure about it, but you should look into it. Again, same thing, continuing with this, American Heart Association, Glenn Foundation for Medical Research, Juvenile Diabetes, and so on. So you should know about what has happened is, because of the cut in funding for NIH, nowadays mostly investigators trying to get funds from private sources. Although the amount of money is not much there compared to funding from the government. But you should know that there are enough money available from private funding sources. Okay, now comes the most important thing that I want to discuss. Now, in India, especially Department of Biotechnology, the way you submit is grant through this e-promise. E-promise is developed by the DBT, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, and it enables submission of proposal online, also again online, and also facilitates tracking of the status of the proposal. This system provides guidelines for submitting the proposal and so on. So e-promise, you just go to the website. Now there are specific instructions there, and you have to follow this. Do not use special characters as mentioned here. You're not supposed to use these characters. Only alphabets are allowed, A to Z and so on. So it's important to follow the instructions there provided, and then you save the details in any of the tab before 20 minutes to avoid use the data, and upload only one PDF file containing the quotations. So you have to really follow the instructions. Again, when preparing an application, you should, I think I already mentioned earlier, you should include well-designed, clearly labeled tables, figures, present in an organized lucid write-up. Never assume the reviewers will know what you mean. Refer to the literature thoroughly, thoughtfully. It's about you and only your idea. I want to stress that, your idea, which is most important. And writing tips and formatting. Again here, as I told you, read the application, follow the guidelines, edit it thoroughly, follow the format instructions. Prefer active rather than passive voice. For example, we will develop cell line, and not a cell line will be developed. Use short, simple sentences, okay? And edit and proofread, and look for any typographical errors and grammatical mistakes. Make your strengths the focus of the proposal. As I mentioned earlier, always include preliminary data, and you should identify any problematic aspects, either hypothesis or technique, and always identify alternatives and propose experiments that take advantage of your training and expertise. And you always, if you need a collaborator or collaborators, get a strong one who publishes in peer-reviewed journals. That's important. And who has a grant, and that also is helpful. Now, review guidelines at DBT. Now, here I just want to tell, I already gone through the review guidelines at NIH. It's not much different. Just again, at DBT, here note the basics of the computer and internet use. And criteria same, here significance and innovation together. Approach and work plan, and researchers and environment together, and budget, ethics and biosafety, and overall. Now here the overall evaluation at the end, whereas at NIH, overall impact score, beginning of the report. But in general, the criteria is same, but in India, in DBT, they do not use a scoring system. Yes or no, I'll come to it in a minute. Evaluation format again, signification, innovation. whether this project has very significant and innovative, whether it will create new knowledge and new technology and methods, approach, and whether there is a clear hypothesis that drives the work, realistic, clearly stated, and methods appropriate, and whether there is a 5-year proposal and preliminary data relevant to the work. So it's more or less, this is more or less similar to NIH. Again, to continue, evaluation format, research and environment, whether they have the expertise to do the work and well planned, and this is important, institutional environment is supportive for the work. And then whether the budget is appropriate and reasonable for the project. Now, DPT proposal continuing, ethics and biosafety. Here, the PI should clearly specify whether the project is ethically and physically safe. And then whether it involves human subject as in NIH. And if there is a human subject, whether there is adequate protection for the human subject. And also whether there is a clear justification for the vertebrate animals. So more or less, it's very similar to NIH, okay? And the next one is overall evaluation. Now compared to NIH, where the overall critique, overall impact in the beginning, here is the end, overall evaluation. Here they provide a very brief one summary of strengths and weaknesses of the proposal and clear recommendation with justification, many strengths and weaknesses and final recommendation. And they put here whether recommended or not recommended, and just they say yes or no, yes or no. As shown here, recommended or recommended with revision, or not recommended. So there is no scoring system in India, in DBT. Now this just want to show you a picture of my study section. This is one of my study section, molecular cell biology. This is Marty Chalfie here, chairman, and there are all different members from different parts of the country. This is one of my committee at NIH many years ago. And I'll just conclude this. I just want to tell you, I've been very, very fortunate because of Swami's blessings. And that is, I have organized 5 cutting-edge symposium at NIH. And I invited top-notch people in the area of DNA chromatin transcription. Now you can see all top people. This is Bruce Tillman. He is the president of Cold Spring Harbor Lab, which is one of the famous labs in the world. People from all around the world come here. And Dr. Watson was the original director, who was the discoverer of DNA. And I think he still lives there in that area. This is Bruce Tillman. And I just want to show you a few people here. This is Carol Greider. She is the discoverer of telomere and telomerase. She and Liz Blackburn, both women, won Nobel Prize for their work on telomere and telomerase, part of the DNA. And so many of top-notch people from MIT and all. So this is Bruce Alberts. Bruce Alberts, very famous professor from University of California, San Francisco. He was former president of the National Academy of Science. Also, he was chairman of my study section. So I have had so much blessings only because of our beloved Swami's grace. That working with this so much, the best minds in the world, and I just cannot tell you, and I just want to thank Swami for that. So just a few more slides I have to slow you. Again, I want to thank Swami. He has been great inspiration. This is one interview Swami blessed me. I'm thanking Swami for his blessing. This is another picture Swami giving me Paad Namaskar after he took a letter from devotees from Manhattan Science Center. The picture taken by Dr. Voletti. And this is my email address. You can contact me anytime if you have any questions about grants, whether in India or here in this country. I just want to conclude here with a quote from our President, Obama. Obama has been another great president and very brilliant man. And I think he's got his Harvard law. He's a Harvard law. And he said that we have to protect the peer review system in this country. Have the proposals in order to get the biggest bang from because it's all taxpayer money, dollars. That's what is going to maintain the highest standards of scientific excellence for years to come. This is what President Obama said during remarks made by the President, 150th anniversary of the National Academy of Sciences, April 29, 2013. Just wanted to share with you, and then finally I'll conclude a quote from famous scientist, Albert Einstein. 1921, he got his Nobel Prize in Physics, and he said, strive not to be a success, but rather to be valued. I think that's important. I know that all of us want to be successful, but it's important, you need to be sure how valuable it would be, Seek valuable, in other words, over success. Just wanted to tell you, life is all about service. I want to stress this again. Only life lived for others is a life worthwhile. And Swami stressed so much on service. Manava's seva is Madhava seva, Swami said. And he has blessed us with so much, to do his work, and we'll continue to do this work. I just want to thank Swami for everything, and then never stop learning. And finally, I want to say, I may not be the most important person in your life, but I just hope that when you hear my name, you smile and say, that's my friend, Sairam. I just want to say, I want to thank Vidyanand in Boston. Hi Vidyanand, thanks for all your help. And we're going to have a series of very useful webinars for Swami's Institute on different topics based on the current syllabus and also thirst areas of research. I think we have identified first a few focused areas, as I mentioned earlier. With this first webinar on long distance webinar on grants and proposal, again with my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagavan. Om Shanti 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 Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.